onto any community college campus and you'll see students walking between classes, taking a momentary break, or maybe studying. Every one of them has a story, and every one of them has faced difficulty at some point in their journey, a journey that has brought them to higher education. But despite these difficulties, they are here, continuing on, getting an education, working to improve their lives. In this video, you will hear the stories of students, instructors, and advisors, all of whom have faced barriers of their own. Maybe you'll identify with someone in this video, or you may hear a story that is much like your own story. What is important to know is that as you face your own difficulties, you are not alone. While all of us have a unique story, many of us share common themes, common successes, and common barriers. Hearing how others solved or overcame their barriers, you may find the beginning of a solution for dealing with whatever barriers you may be facing. As you listen to these stories, it is our hope you will find comfort, support, and even inspiration. Barriers come in all forms. Some are obvious, others are hidden. Some barriers may arrive as something seemingly insignificant, yet undermine all of the effort you are making toward your goal. Other barriers can be handled quickly and effortlessly, even though they look to be insurmountable at first. There are an unlimited number of issues that can be considered barriers: time, culture, physical barriers. Others include finances, language differences, geographic barriers. How ready are you for higher education? Are you shy or outgoing? What type of support do you have? Are you returning to school later in life? Are you trying to take on too much at one time? What types of pressures do you have on you as you are trying to attend college? All of these things can stand in the way of your education. As we begin this journey to understand barriers, remember a couple of things. Not all barriers are the same. Challenges for one person may be inspiration for another. You are not alone or the first person to face these barriers. Hearing the stories of others facing similar difficulties will hopefully point you in the direction of a solution. There is always support on the campus of the school you will hopefully attend. You may have to do a little looking, but there are people at every school who want you to succeed and will help you in every way they can. And understand that college is a natural time of change and growth. In part 1 of this video on overcoming barriers, we are going to look at two important factors: money and family. Both can be seen as inspiration and both can be barriers. It depends on your individual perspective. We'll start with money. If you are thinking about going to college, the first question that may occur to you is, how am I going to pay for college?
My family cannot support my tuition here. So I applied for financial aid and the South Seattle Foundation Scholarship.
I was lucky enough that my work, working for my dad, helped me provide enough money to pay for community college.
We didn't have the money at home. I was trying to feed 3 kids and I just couldn't do that.
We all got to go through that rough times, and sometimes we just, we can't afford it.
So one obstacle was looking for resources to pay for school.
And the challenges that I found was not being able to understand the financial aid process. It was very difficult at the beginning, and I always thought I was going to end up with this huge debt. Everybody always talks, how are you going to end up with hundreds of thousands of dollars?
Not having support, not having money, not having the means of transportation even.
I know part of the issue that I see with a lot of my friends and my friends' children and just people in general is, where is the money to go to school? How am I going to pay for my education when I come from a single parent family? You know, it's not like my mom's going to have the money to pay for college for me.
Aisha is like many students. She wanted to attend college but had no idea of how to pay for college, let alone balance this with the other commitments in her life.
Well, I had to think a lot about time and financial things to have a son, so I wasn't exactly sure how that was going to was spending time with my son, having time to work and go to school and do my homework.
I was a little bit, and it was just the basic nervousness of not knowing exactly how things were going to work and like that, and it was just sort of a leap of faith in a way.
Vincent had similar concerns.
I'd heard stories from other people who had been on financial aid, and that they were able to support themselves and their family like that through it. Actually, before I had, a few years back, when I had gotten a phone call from one of the guys at North Seattle, he had said that both him and his wife had gone back to school at the same time, and they had a child that they were raising, and they were able to support the both of them going through school with financial aid. So that in itself gave me a lot of hope.
As we win, we'll tell you, take that leap of faith. Don't let the question of funding stop you from pursuing a higher education.
When you start college, you don't ever afraid if you don't have the money to go to school. There are funding, there are resources that will help you on the way. If you have trouble with that, come talk to the supervisor, advisor, faculties on campus. They'll show you the way to overcome. They will show you, they try to find a way that helping you going through that difficulties. And they're very supportive.
A number of resources are available to help fund your higher education. There are scholarships, financial aid, grants, and loans. Plus, there is work-study available on campus. You can find information about these options on the website for any college or university, or by visiting the campus of any higher education institution. Ask someone like college instructor Bob Dela Cruz, and he will tell you they'll work hard to find you funding.
Academics at the community college is so significant, so important, because it's available to everybody. The community college is there for all of us within the community, regardless of your financial situation, regardless of your family background. You have the opportunity, or the students have the opportunity to come here and then to get into academics and find out if this is what they like. And now once you have that, then you have so many opportunities, so many options, which you wouldn't have if you only had your high school diploma.
Like, you can just get a scholarship just for being your ethnicity, for saying I'm Samoan. I can get a scholarship for saying that. Like, schools want you, if you have an ethnicity or a cultural background, they want you to come to their school. We want you to come to our school. Like, so just saying I have brown eyes, or like there's all these really random scholarships. So you just got to find them, and they're everywhere.
Even for being a girl and going to college, they'll give you a scholarship for that.
In fact, if you do some research, you will discover there are scholarships and other forms of funding for just about any group of people with which you can identify. Common themes for scholarships might be academic achievement and goals, talent as an athlete, your ability in fine arts, and even your cultural or ethnic background. While some students may not feel they need any financial help, it is important for every student to consider all the resources available to them.
For financial aid, sometimes I'll have students tell me, oh, I'm not going to apply for financial aid because my family makes too much money, or we're going to just pay out of pocket. Things happen, life changes, and a parent or a spouse might lose their job, and you may need financial aid at some point in that time that you're studying here during that year. So I always say, apply anyway. Let someone else deny you or tell you that you don't have an award coming to you. Or I'll have students who say, oh, I'm not going to apply for that scholarship because I don't think I'm worthy. Or I say, but student, what if you did apply and they did award you? Well, that means I could do this, this, and this. And so let others deny you. You know, do the things that you can control, and then let others take a look at it. And you might be pleasantly surprised that you do get something, an award, maybe a scholarship, something. But if you don't even participate or choose not to do it, you're denying yourself. And so it's really important, I think, just to take the time and energy to do those things that you're considering, because they might pay off for you.
And this type of funding is available at smaller private universities too.
And that's something that a lot of students will just not even look at Seattle University or other private schools because they look at our initial tuition costs and get scared off a little bit. The good news is that we do offer a lot of scholarships and financial aid to transfer students here at Seattle University. The good news is that we offer 2 transfer scholarships that we award year-round.
And once you've found the important funding you need, be sure to keep on top of deadlines.
So many times we see students who apply late. Their financial aid hasn't been completed yet, they're in school, and they're hoping that, you know, everything gets straightened out and it's not going to interfere, but oftentimes because they don't end up being eligible, it does interfere with their education, and they have to drop out, or they're not able to continue. So that's a huge barrier financially because of the failure to plan at the beginning, at the front end.
Any number of students will tell you that if you take the risk to find the funding, it will be worth it. Just ask Aisha Gordon.
For a few years there, before I decided to come to college and everything, I didn't really do much. And for me, knowing every day I have something to get up and get out of bed and go do that makes me, at the end of the day, feel like I've accomplished something is huge.
One of Aisha's biggest motivators for going to college is her son. She knows a college education will help to provide for her son and set a good example for him. Family plays a significant and complicated role in a student's decision to pursue college or university.
I just want to add that family is really support to the students. And if you're a mother and you have a husband, your husband is the #1 support who can help. If your wife is going to school, don't just think like, oh, she's going to school. She's really going through a lot, and she needs the support from you.
A typical Micronesian family does not have that on its high priority list, talking about education, college at home.
I know since I was young, I have to go to school to the end till I cannot go anymore, so I can have a better future.
I think for the family part, support on emotional and understanding about they have to study hard, and like what I say, that give them like some time to study and provide some space for study, that it will help a lot.
My family supported me in many ways throughout this whole process, financially, emotionally, and it's been a great experience.
For me, there's no obligation besides just like going to school. Like my parents, ever since they got here, it's just like school. I mean, like when I got older, I had to learn how to balance things out, like going to work and going to school, and how to get up there and learn other things. So that was just the obstacle that I went through.
For many families, Pacific Island families, it is already pre-decided what your position is going to be in the family, and even what your family's position is in relationship to other families or clans on your islands. And so there are certain families that are considered the leaders, and it's expected that their children will be leaders. And then you have other families where they are not expected to become educated and become more than it's basically a caste system in a way. They're not expected to become more than what every person in their their family has been in the past.
I think for me, one of the biggest obstacles was my family. I felt like for me, I had a responsibility to be a sister, a cousin, to be a niece, when I would always let my problems at home get to my education.
I had to, ask my husband for advice, and he suggested me, to get a short course. It's called nursing assistant, because I always want to be a nurse when I was young. And so he's always there to advise me and support me financially, and also taking care of my kids while I was at school. That's kind of helped me, motivate me.
I think one of the struggles for me was having the support of my family. They didn't quite understand why I wanted to go to college. It was more important for my mom to see me graduating from high school because she didn't finish high school. And so she was like, just finish high school, and then that was it. That was the only conversation we had.
I'd say it was my parents that really helped me a lot in going to college, maybe because they wanted me to focus on school 100%, and without their support, I don't know if I could even make it.
It's a family expectation that we go to college, and that's instilled into our behavior, our future thinking. It's instilled by my parents because my dad is a high school teacher, so I didn't really have a choice. I had to go to college.
They might want to go to school, but there's a lot of family pressure sometimes to find a job and send money back to them because they really need it or want the money.
We all know families play a significant role in our lives. Since every family dynamic is different, it is no wonder that families can have a wide variety of impacts. Families can be a great source of support or can unwittingly create barriers for a potential student and their desire for higher education. Sometimes they can be both at the same time.
We're originally from Vietnam, and I have 5 people in my family. We came to the United States in 1988, but we left Vietnam in 1986. So after the war, it was really, the 80s was a very difficult time in Vietnam. Very low resources, limited resources, and so everyone was trying to get out of the country. So I started 3rd grade here, and I was really, like, during elementary school and middle school, I was very a motivated student. I did really well, but then when I got to high school, I didn't do too well. I didn't have a good time in high school. I was trying to take like AP classes and doing running start way more than I should have. And so it was really overwhelming, and then I didn't do well, and it kind of spiraled down. But the whole time when I was struggling with school, I didn't really tell my parents much about it. And so they didn't know. They just thought, she's doing fine. She's always a good student, things like that. And so my dad was really, really in shock. Like I can still remember the day when I told him, because I was the oldest, and so they expected that she would have to go through college, get her, have a really good degree, and otherwise her siblings would not follow in her footsteps, things like that. I think like sometimes you feel like it's too overwhelming and you feel like you don't know if you can do it. And I think it helps to have people who say, we're here to support you and to give you the help. So do what you can, and then let us know where you're failing, and then we can have the support to help you.
Counselor Stephen Coates White has had many discussions with students regarding the pressures that family can add.
I just wanted to go back to family expectations as well. I think that's another big barrier, because when we're talking about life balance and being the superhero like I was mentioning, it really means having some pretty hard conversations sometimes, and not necessarily discounting what family expectations are, but listening to those and also engaging family in what you're doing on campus and sharing some of your own needs or what you're able to do and not able to do. And those are really hard conversations just in respect to culture and some family values and other types of things. So I would encourage students not to shy away from those hard conversations, but to engage in them, because part of that process, at least you can potentially find some solutions with family and maybe even inviting family in and being part of what you're doing on campus and so that they can see the importance, I think is something that I would highly recommend.
While it may not be easy to achieve for some, the student receiving the support of their family will play a large role in the student's success in college.
The importance of support from their families, emotional support, knowing that this is tough being in school. It takes a lot of energy, and they need to be cheered on every once in a while to hang in there. Times get tough. If families could understand that and be there for them, cut them a little slack sometimes, you know, maybe they're not going to get all their chores done, but they're studying for a test. Make sure they have a nice, quiet place to study. Become involved as much as their student will allow them to in what they're learning. And the deadlines, financial aid deadlines, and try to be supportive, making sure that you're providing the information they may need so that, you know, they're going to be able to go to school. So it's finding ways to help out, even though maybe they have not gone to school themselves before, and this is the first time someone in their family is, that there's so many ways that they can be there for their student, letting them know they believe in them and they're there for them, rooting for them all the way.
If you are facing an issue and it is placing a barrier between you and your success at college or making you think twice about pursuing higher education, you will find resources on most campuses to help you with these issues. They may be counselors, instructors, or they may be fellow students. Chances are, the seeds to a solution are there for you. In part 2 of Overcoming Barriers, we will look at other situations that pose difficulties for students, like language differences, lack of good role models, and poor educational background, and ways that students have overcome those barriers to be successful.